And I need to get one of these open. I don't actually need this open, so that's fine. There's so much random crap I have to have up for this. Creator dashboard. Yeah, this does seem like too good of an idea to like pass up. Snikity, snikt, snakt. There we go. Okay. But really, typically we get like the stream going and let people come in, and then we'll typically start the recording. But this is just like the whole
Sure.
ramblings.
Getting lubed. Yeah, so I don't even want to talk about like LVO or anything since I'm just doing like.
Oh, and then it is streaming on Twitch, so if you want to answer people's questions or talk to people, that is there.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Oh, I'm an idiot. Let me what do you want me to call you? The X-Force Messiah? The new X-Force Messiah?
No, you can just call me Nigel.
Omnis is gonna love this. He's
Uh,
good, good times, good times.
I'm sort of surprised that um Omnis was like, because I haven't really been playing for that long, and
Mhm.
so like I think it's pretty obvious that I'm in X Force because I haven't like learned any better yet. But like I don't know, I haven't done anything, so it's I my impression like when I was sort of getting into the game, I was like listening. Like you guys were kind of primary in my rotation because you were like the X Force guy, and and um, yeah, I don't know. I was like, well, what am I gonna say? Like, what? How are we gonna have an X Summit when I haven't like done anything with them yet? Um, I just enjoy them, and I will play them at any tournament I ever go to. But
So
like, I
I
thought like you've moved on.
I mean no, I've not completely moved on. I needed a
Yeah.
break because Omnis forced me into a break.
Hmm.
Um Oh, Barcat says hello. Hello, Barcat. Can you hear us? I don't. Let me make sure this is working. Yes, it should be working. But Omnis was like, you need to take a break from X Force, and so I dabbled around in Suns and Malekith for a while, and so him dethroning me is almost ironic because he told me to stop playing X Force.
Yeah.
uh, is this the Dizzard only Nads I heard about? No, we got a guest here. This is the snikity snacked, with the snikt podcast with sound effects. Um, but we're gonna be talking about snicks and snacks. But yeah, so like I love X Force. Like it's my favorite faction. I'm sure we'll get into this. Well, you know what? Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and get started. We got a bunch of people here now, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna hit the buttons and we'll get the show on the road. Okay. Where did my buttons go? Okay, there it is. Okay. Um, I feel like I should have gotten credit for only that said OnlyFans. That's fair. Okay, here we go.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Maximum effort. In this war, there's no surrender.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Who the hell is Bucky?
You don't like a fair fight.
I think you're wrong. Which part? All of it.
Think you're the only superhero in the world?
Touche.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Stickity Snacks. We have been overran by myself and Nigel. This was put up to us by Omnis to do a Stickity Snackity, just can't slappity. Or I'm gonna stop doing that. Basically, Omnis was like, you guys should just totally just X-Force out or Wolverine out because Hyper Viper and Sam are at LVO right now. So that's some big news right there. They both did really well, supposedly. I didn't really pay attention too much until today of what was going on. I think Hyper made it into the LCQ and Sam did too, but I think they were taken out pretty early. So it happens. But congrats to Vince and the Taco Truck for going ahead and taking LVO. And then let's go ahead and move on. So first off, we're gonna introduce we're gonna introduce Nigel. Nigel is the one who is now referred to as X Force Messiah in Omnis's Discord. I was dethroned as the X Force Messiah because of my leaving of X Force and going and trying different things. So I wonder how many times I've said X Force already in this podcast, but well, but welcome Nigel, and why don't you go ahead and tell us why you love X Force so much?
Um, I love X Force because um, when I first started, I don't know. It's actually sort of it's got like the '90s era. I didn't love X Force when they came out.
Hmm.
I hate Rob Liefeld. And like but they grew on me. Again, I think I described it as like when you first meet a kid in elementary school that like moved in, you got to bully him, and
Yeah,
then eventually you become best friends. Um, that's basically X Force kind of won me over. And like every single character that ever came out for them, I hated at first. It was like because they were all just like quintessentially just made to be cooler than the last. Like Deadpool was just cool. Deathstroke, Domino was just like a cool. It's like all of them were like really obvious, like mining just cool '90s cool points.
yeah,
Um, and but then I was like, you know what? The '90s are pretty cool. Like let's get tactical. Wearing goofy '70s holdover spandex
with no
anymore.
feet.
We're wearing, yeah, with no feet. We're getting tactical. We're getting belts and buckles and all kinds of. And then Wolverine just fits in. And Cable's just a cool character. Like the more the characters aren't as one dimensional as I initially thought. So I like the characters. I got in for X Men though. I really love '80s X Men. I came
Hmm.
in to play '80s X Men. Um, but they were like good, and I've got a pod of new players, and I didn't want to just like beat everybody like a drum. So like Weapon X became kind of my like, okay, I can play all these characters I love to play, but then not be playing like S tier stuff right away as we all
Yeah.
got good. Um, but I mean, I got to the point with X Force that like they hate playing that too. So it's like, I don't know. I kind of started to suspect that maybe there's stuff there that like, you know,
Well, they're definitely like an underrated team. Like a lot of people, like when they see X Force, they just say like, "Oh, that team." And then like they play the game, and it's like, this really isn't that bad. Like it's kind of surprises me like how almost like maligned X Force is. And it's like
yeah,
why?
yeah.
Like why? Like
So you
like
start with the first thing that someone will tell you. You go, I play it. Be like, um, you'll say you play X Force, and then you'll get hit with these like boilerplate. Like at this point now, I could literally rattle them off. They're like Cable. They'd be an okay faction if they weren't saddled with a really bad 5 point leader. You're like, I think Cable's awesome. What do you hate about him? They'll say he's really inconsistent, and then it's like, what's inconsistent about Cable?
Okay, so I
He's
mean, I'm gonna interrupt you here. Is it's called the X Force leadership, and that it's obviously he's built around his leadership of having a natural reroll. So, his consistency is so. I guess I agree with you. That's probably the very first thing you hear is people are like, "But Cable." Um, but I think you and I are both in agreement here that especially after the Crisis revamp, Cable is a force to be reckoned with. Like I think he is like absolutely like just a straight baller on a lot of these secures because of his body slide and his range. Sure, you could be playing Rocket and have Rocket move up, but you don't have someone who's got a throw or a shield. Like Cable's just like I don't know. I've been loving Cable in the new Crises.
yeah. Yeah, everybody that I play with here locally hates Cable. They hate him. And and like to me he's the definition of consistency. And it has not like the leadership's fine. And honestly if his leadership was better, whatever, I wouldn't complain. But like um you and I don't know if you basically do the same thing, but I play cat and mouse body slide up. I try to go last on turn one. I cat and mouse body slide up to center point or some sort of extract, and then I like double shoot. But sometimes it's like a double shoot throw
Hmm.
or a shoot. You're like dazing somebody at the bottom of one out of nowhere, and or building up a ton of power to just protect your team or doing like he just is super consistent. I hate that. I hate that when people say that, it like it gives me like an eye twitch because I mean, you could play Black Bolt if like you could play. There's a lot of like inconsistent fives, or just it's just Marvel in general. I've seen Hulk be inconsistent, so
I mean, it's just
um,
Marvel, like you said, it's Marvel in general. Like, there's so much dice variance. Like, what is true consistency in this game? Um,
mhm.
I guess X-23 under the X-Force leadership because you get 2 rerolls.
Yeah,
Slapping a Zemo right next to her, and
yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
Red Skull.
yeah. I mean, like I completely Red Skull is probably the most consistent character. Barncat says Cable's action economy is his saving grace. I agree with that. Like between cat and mouse, body slide, like body slide is like an amazing ability. Now, like I do wish that it was like a true body slide where he traded places with somebody. Like that would be such a cool superpower to have in the game. Um,
Mhm.
like let me just pull this person either towards my people or like pull them out of safety or something like that. Like I wish it was like a true body slide by one. Um,
Yeah.
but like what he's got with it is superb in my opinion. Like I'll pay 2 power to get a range 2 place any day. I mean, what Spider Woman's got it now. For hers, I don't fly glide thing, but
Yep.
Cable's gun, it's the best attack type. Sure, it's only 5 dice, but I still will die on this hill that if it was 6 attack dice, Cable would be like considered oppressive. Um, I,
Oppressive. Yeah, he couldn't
I
have a hammer.
yeah, I truly think that Cable would be the most oppressive 5 threat if he had a 6 die builder. Um, like just that range 5 energy wild incinerate, it's so good. Compare him to Witch, and he's honestly a pretty solid if you're playing at range. I think he's a toolbox character. He's got an amazing range. He has the throw, the shield, the body slide. He's great for secures. I love him for secures. And I think
Hmm.
both you and I just love Cable and like think it's ridiculous when people say like, but you're playing Cable.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think the Cable is the issue with that faction at all.
No.
It's yeah.
So if you had to put, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Let's just hit this real quick because I put all this work into making these. I'm gonna use them. So I'm gonna use these for transitions. Maybe that'd be pretty good. Okay, so here's my question to you, and I don't know if you've ever like noticed this before, but I am so hard to keep on a 1 track mind. Um, but what? Speaking of issues, what is X Force's issue?
Um, they're they don't have. I honestly don't entirely know because their issue is they don't have a breadth of characters enough to
Yep.
give you a variety to. I think if you just played X-23 and Honey Badger, if your core was if you were willing to just have a core and then splash your way into, I think you're okay. But
Mm-hmm.
you just want to shoot yourself in the face, like you're gonna get tired immediately. Um, you know, I don't if
You get bored
it's
of it.
yeah, exactly. I think if you stuck to it though, that's a pretty solid 5 base, and then you could take you can Beta Ray Bill's coming out. I think he's gonna be pretty spicy.
Yeah, I like Bill. I like oh, there was another one I liked too, but I can't think of it right now. But I think what you're trying to say, because you're kind of bouncing around it, and this is what I truly
Yeah,
think is X Force's biggest issue, is they have no clear direction of what the team wants to be doing.
yeah,
You have characters that want to kill, and you have a leadership that wants to add dice, but you're not really survivable. I used to say that X Force was like the first like aggro team because you wanted to play them very aggressively, but now Weapon X is like put shame to that almost. Um, because now they could be aggro and survive. But X Force is still just like, well, we're sitting here with our same exact characters -1. Um, I'm salty about Weapon X
yeah,
if you can't tell. um, but it's straight up like I think it's the lack of direction for your build to go. And like you said, you could take Cable 23 and Badger, and that's like great characters. And then you have to add splashes to give your list direction. Um,
yep,
and for the longest time, I used to run a clapback list, and this was like I'd have Sabretooth, I'd have Ronin, I'd have Seeing Red, which I don't know if you were playing when Seeing Red was in rotation, but that was basically Ronin's ability or Bucky's. It was basically got your back on a tactic card. Um, So basically, I had all this clapback things going, and I had Sabretooth, and that was like one of the best feelings I've had with X Force, was because it was all about abusing that leadership to get as many rerolls as possible.
Yeah.
And it was great, and I loved it. And that was like my direction. And I think anybody looking to pick up X Force, that's the thing that you need to decide is what direction do you want to take this team? Because they can absolutely be a scenario team. They could be an aggressive team and they could be an attrition team because of the tools they have available to them. And I think you'll agree with me on this. I think X Force has some of the best affiliated characters. Like you got 23, you got Domino, you got
Yep.
Badger. Like tell me who's a bad X Force character. Deadpool. Deadpool has a place.
Yeah, I love Deadpool actually. I like really love Deadpool. So um, and I actually love OG Wolverine, as I'm like memed on for
Hmm.
saying it, but like I think he's spectacular. I
Well,
mean,
there's the whole
yeah,
Wolverine's card. Like that card makes Wolverine insane. I'll die on that hill too. Like I actually enjoy playing OG Wolverine in X Force. I like him there more than anywhere else.
yeah, yep. Um, yeah, he's like I played for so long. Like a list would be like Colossus, Wolverine, Cable, and like Juggernaut of that, and it was awesome. I mean, I was like watching Vince play this weekend and tearing people apart, and he beat me at second wind, and he beat me like 16-11. It was like hammers. It was hammers, and it was like two D shapes. Um,
Hmm.
and that's the team I was playing into two D shapes on Shield, and he beat me 16-11, but he only had dazed Fury Senior, dazed Iron Man running away in the back with a hammer. Like everybody was dead. Like, and then Nick Fury was fresh, but he was scared, hiding on. Like Juggernaut was flying around. The rerolls were all over the place. Wolverine was like just a nightmare. And that game was like super gettable if I had just a few like a tactical error plus a couple point of failures on dice. But Juggernaut's gonna Juggernaut. He's gonna give you a big whiff that breaks your back at some point, and then um, uh, and then not knowing how to play your Berserker Barrage.
Yeah.
Don't place within one of me before you do the damage or before you roll your dice. Um,
Absolutely.
but like the game was like pretty close, and I wasn't. None of my guys were even. I mean, it's like when you play games like that, and you're like, if I was a doofus, I could have played that at like a heck of a lot better. Yeah, they just have and that's a four wide, which is like three characters at the time people thought were all terrible, which is
Hmm.
Wolverine, Colossus, and Cable, and Colossus has now been like people are starting to like catch on to him a little bit, um, which is great, I guess, but like
Yeah. He just doesn't die. Like that's like he doesn't die.
yeah, he'll wreck the game, and people also just don't realize that if if you're in a brawl like on Senators or something like that type of the new crises,
Hmm.
he's gonna just print a bunch of power absorbing shots and then he's gonna like X slam like that. That's so underrated.
Oh, I agree. Like
Just
X
kind of
Slam is
getting
huge.
yeah. It feels so good to X slam people and then throw something. Like he just starts to actually do a ton of work. Like as the game drags on. Um, and they start running out of ways to like displace him and deal with him.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, and I love that team. I love that team of like Cable, either midline or back point guarding guys who are like a little chunkier. That's why I don't like the X-23 Honey Badger. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, he covers them well, but he covers Juggernaut a heck of a lot better than he covers um the like little weenies
Or Bill.
or Beta Ray Bill. Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna love Beta Ray Bill so much.
Yeah, I wanna I
Um,
wanna play it when he comes out, and man, we'll get to that eventually.
yeah,
But yeah, I just like it's always with X Force. It's like what can I do to get an edge? And I think that's another issue that they have is where do they get their edge? And I think a lot of it comes from Cable's shield and Colossus's bodyguard. Um, and then like they're surprisingly mobile when it really comes down to it. You got Sabretooth who's got aggressive. You
yep,
have Colossus who could throw Wolverine with fastball special, which that's huge. And riddle me this. What is the difference between Logan and Wolverine? Why is
Um,
why is Logan loved so much, but Wolverine is so hated?
this is the question. Like I just was like on Omnis trying to explain this. It's like Logan has a I I don't know. I think people just like that Logan is a little bit more brainless. Like
Yeah.
he just does his builder. He spends three, does his builder, throws a model, beams, to the where the throw is. He's like efficiently kind of does what he wants to do. But Wolverine pays yourself off quite easy with just like double burst. You're gonna take no matter the cost half the time anyways. So they do Berserker Barrage into a Berserker Barrage, and you're throwing two models, and he's basically doing a very similar amount of like overall work.
Well, I
Um,
mean, it just blows my mind. Like the only difference really is Logan has the range 3 builder that places him, but you're essentially doing that with Wolverine anyways with the no matter the cost Berserker Barrage, which then you're in
yeah,
place and you don't need the movement anymore. You're going to be
yep,
doing builders, which they have the
yeah,
same 5 die with Pierce builder. Like I
and
don't get it.
and if you're playing Colossus, fastball is such a great delivery mechanism.
Oh
Even if they
yeah.
brace it, which I just love, that's like even the better because you're playing Cable. I'm gonna get through all these c words. You're playing Cable. You're gonna be throwing stuff all day, and so you don't want they'll brace the fastball special because they can't help themselves. They just love like one for wanting themselves in Magic, and then you still got the move. It doesn't stop you from just having Wolverine there, and
Yeah.
it's just so good. It's like and it's a medium move. It's just not even a round. And you still have like if you're playing Sabretooth with that crew, because that's also like 17 points is Sabretooth, Wolverine, Colossus, and him, which I just love. That's the other thing too. This is also why I love X Force. They play the chonkers, like the fours. I love fours so much in this game, and I don't understand. Like people are like, finally, their AMG's finally designing good fours. It's like, oh, I just want to like, I just causes again. I get eye twitches because it's like I
It's
love all the fours that I play.
it's such like aggressive takes. Like I'll say like I've made some too where I'm like, this character's like I've said Wolverine has like let me down before, but like that's when you really look at it, that's any character. But then you
Yeah,
get these characters that are so maligned, it's too easy to fall into like the trap of like, oh, is this Wolverine? Or it's Sabretooth. Like, but Sabretooth is a great four, and I've been saying that I don't know, like about a year or so now, where I would run Sabretooth over Wolverine before Colossus came out. Just because like No Mercy is great. You have
yeah.
the aggressive, you got the attack back, and I loved Sabretooth for that. And he's technically somewhat tankier than Wolverine was at the time because
And
he's like
then
what?
this yeah.
Yeah, he's got the more health and being able to interact. I think if I would change one thing on Wolverine, it's the flip side, not interacting. But how many times in a game do you actually have Wolverine flip where it matters?
Where I don't know about where it matters, but he flips a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's the event of Wolverine is
Yeah.
the like it's a mini game that happens because once he flips, it's like shit got real. And he's for a guy who can't contest or be meaningful on scenario, he'll still be there if they have priority or anytime they activate, they'll still be trying to deal with him because they can't have him just tearing them apart.
Yes.
So like I've 100% just ignored Nebula in a pinch, because you just didn't. It's like oh, she's annoying, but like Wolverine, you just can't. He'll kill all your Sentinels or he'll just go bonkers. Like um, yeah, I don't know. I the the thing too with the thing too with like the Sabretooth and him, I just like them as like a combo, because when I play, I it's sort of memey, but I love it. Is so I'm obsessed with like card advantage or like action economy advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got Colossus who throws, um, you've got Wolverine who Berserker barrages, you've got Cable who throws, um, and so you're kind of generating like a little bit of extra value every time they've got power. And then you've got fastball special, weapon X program, exceptional healing, um, no matter the cost. And Sabretooth is just a great guy for like half of those cards too. So like being able to kind of get some like feeling like you're not playing four cards to make Wolverine good is good. Like, Sabertooth shores that up. Is like, okay, it's not the
Well,
Wolverine show.
That's so true. Like, and I used to tell people this all the time. Is like, yes, you're bringing like cards that Wolverine can use, but you're also bringing cards that Sabretooth could use, or X-23 if you're playing her, or even Deadpool or Domino. Like, Deadpool still likes to use no matter the cost too. Like,
Hmm.
if you could save it for late game and get a free maximum effort and then heal it all back, like, I'll take that. Um, so it's like it's all the cards being used for Wolverine. I think that is a X-Men issue that got transferred over to X-Force.
Hmm.
But I do think let's go ahead and move into this. We talked about why X-Force is underrated a little bit because like people just look at it and think Cable. They think X-Force. Like, why aren't you? Oh, here's the other one we didn't mention is why are you playing X-Force when you could be playing Shadowlands Daredevil? Because I want to play my freaking X-Force. Like, I want the comics that I grew up with. And
Yeah.
like, and they're in my opinion, I still think that X-Force can outweigh Shadowlands Daredevil. It's not only about the leadership. Like, Cat and Mouse is so good. I love
Yeah.
Cat and Mouse.
I get yeah. People will be like cat and mouse is cat. The cat and mouse is like that. They'll tell you it's a bad card. I'm like, I don't. Okay, I don't. I'll let you say that. I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm going to keep taking it
But
because it's amazing. Every time
but
I
it's
don't take it, I hate
yeah.
myself.
It's like there's games where Cat and Mouse could be netting you 2 VPs and 2 actions. When without Cat and Mouse, you wouldn't be able to get all of that on one character.
Yeah.
Like being able to have Cable, Cat and Mouse, grab a cube and be on a B shape, interact and shoot twice, and then potentially even throw something. Like, it's just value.
Yeah.
Um, Now, the only tactic card that I would say really I still don't understand. Oh, hi, finger guns. The only tactic card that I still don't understand is Dirty Work. Have you ever been able to make Dirty Work, or is it really just a
No,
negative value card?
I think that's a negative value card. That is a yeah. Well, here's the problem in dirty work is just the game's gotten away from what would you like. I think my standard team. I don't know. Yeah, it's just bad. I hate that card. You'd have to make a weird team around it, and I don't want my tactics cards making
Yeah.
my team. I want my team to make my tactics cards. So that's because like if you took Deadpool, Domino, X-23, and Honey Badger, and you played this like wide X Force, and you took no splash characters, I don't know, maybe, but
So I've said like, and I wish, and I think I'm pretty sure you're on the same boat with me on this. Is I wish Omega Red was affiliated because
yeah.
Omega Red could actually play Dirty Work where it's beneficial, and Omega Red
Mhm.
would be like a great candidate for Cat and Mouse. Like, I would love Cat and Mouse on Omega Red. Um,
Yeah.
but man, like I try to stay out of the wishes and the the woulda couldas.
Yeah, no, it's I played a lot of Omega Red as my splash in
Hmm.
X Force, and I really never regretted it, because he does because Wolverine and Cable and or
Hmm.
Wolverine and Colossus in the middle, and he is kind of breaking up combos or controlling things or getting people off center gammas or like just messing people's action economies and like the poison chip in is pretty big. I don't know. He does have games where he doesn't seem to do that much, but yeah, I'd say his consistency for me was up and down. But I enjoyed him. I think he's awesome. Also, just having who are you attacking on that team specifically? He's like Colossus, nope. Omega Red, no.
Nope.
Wolverine, Wolverine's the guy that they want to attack the most, but you've got exceptional healing, and you're just going to print power and like go to town on everybody, and he's going to heal. Like he's so annoying, especially he's going to be getting the shields and the bodyguards, and then just um, yeah, that team is rough for people.
I agree. So when I was playing Malekith Cabal, I played Omega Red there, and what I kept finding was Omega Red is almost like a literal "you don't want to come here" character. There
Hmm.
were so many times where my opponents would just be like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna go to that side of the table now. I'm just gonna like." And then Omega Red's netted me like 2 VPs a turn because he's got an extract and the secure, and the
Hmm.
opponent just doesn't want to deal with him because poison, and he's just chonky and so hard to take out.
Yeah, and he's got the best of. Well, I mean, I don't know. He's got a very good cable pull, whatever. Like that,
Yeah.
it's like range 4, medium move. It always throws people off. They're like, what? They
Oh,
have
that pulls medium.
yeah, Yeah.
I'm gonna pull you right into Wolverine's clutches. Oh,
Yep.
you think you throwing Colossus that way matters? I'm gonna pull you into Colossus, and now he's gonna X slam you.
Yep.
Oh, good times. Yeah, I love Omega Red. Man. All right, let's move on. If if you were to make, I think one of the biggest issues I always have with X Force is like, who am I going to pair them with? Because I've always felt like like we said earlier, they just don't have the variety to run mono that well, and they almost feel like they have to have a pairing. Um, Especially because like people who are just pure scenario can just run away with the game on them. I've seen it
Yeah.
multiple times. Or if someone's just pure attrition, they just pound you into the ground. Um, so like, do you have the same thoughts with this, where you're better off running a duel, or do you think it's plausible to run mono?
I think it's plausible currently to run mono, um, but it requires I think mono is more on the table now than it was, because I like Rhino and Blob a lot, and there's just characters that you know like I don't know. There's just so many ways to build them now that I have to even go back and revisit with the new crises. Um, because yeah, it's just like D. It's not all just on D crises, and it's not D's, C's, and E's anymore. It's like there's so many weird new shapes in the middle that like are going to be awesome for what X Force wants to do. Um, and then Rhino's just cheaper Juggernaut, and he's doing like Juggernaut is kind of overkill for what I needed him to be doing. I
Yeah,
didn't really I didn't give a shit about his "Do you know who I am" card all that much. I mean, it's great, and I took it, but like I just needed I needed a monster that would go from D point to D point every turn, to where I needed to like power to point people and like
yeah.
deny them. And so yeah, Rhino can do that.
Well, that and robbery almost helps you more than do you know who I am, because if they got an
Yeah.
extract, it's helping you on the scenario front, which is,
Yep.
in my opinion, something that X Force has issues with. So I actually really like Rhino for this. I've been playing a lot of foes lately, and
Yeah.
I've been loving Rhino. And
Yeah.
I think adding Rhino and Pyro to X Force is kind of big.
Oh yeah, Pyro too. Yeah.
Like, you no longer need that wild incinerate from Cable. You got 3 chances to get it.
Yeah. Yep.
So if we were to build, let's do this. Let's build an X Force list. What we gotta, man. This is taking a. I mean, I kind of put it in here that we would make something, but
Sure.
it's I wasn't expecting to at the same time. So let's go ahead and pull this up. So let's go ahead and, for the listeners, let's make an X Force list. I can't connect to Steam apparently. While I'm getting this worked up, go ahead and what's something? Okay, so what do you consider auto includes or locked for an X Force list?
Um, I got my auto includes my like my Fab Four. Uh, gosh, yeah. Okay, so Deadpool's the only one that I would like call a question piece, and I love the hell out of Deadpool.
Agreed.
But um, but I would go like they're all just pretty critical. I like Wolverine, Colossus, Cable, Domino, X-23, Honey Badger. Um, so what is that, 6? I'd have to have. I
So
think that would.
I personally, and this is, you could tell me if I'm wrong here. I actually think Deadpool's time to shine is more than ever, especially with new sword.
Mhm.
His not being able to get moved is so big. Like, I love his.
Actually, that's not wrong. I do, but the other thing is, if I go Deadpool, then my flex would be Weapon X. I would swap because Deadpool's just a monster
Agreed.
in Weapon X.
Which is something that I've been toying with. I know we talked about it offline a little bit.
Mhm.
Was like, is Weapon X Force the way to go with X Force nowadays? Because I love Cable in Weapon X. Like, he is a monster there,
Yeah,
because they need a backliner, which he does. You couple him, like, his defense boost with the leadership, and like, people just don't die. Um, Like I love anybody who plays Weapon X or anything like that. Like try Cable in your list. I got it
Yeah.
from Draz or Matt Herb, and he told me, man, you gotta try Cable in Weapon X, and I did it, and I have not regretted it ever since. It's just he's amazing. But let's build this list. We got. Let me pull out all the X Force characters. Do you want to? Should we do a mono or the Weapon X Force?
I mean, the Weapon X Force. As soon as you add X-23 to the tray, it's just a matter of the X cards flopping. So like that, and I guess that's the big debate. I love OG Wolverine. I love him a lot, and like Logan then is a splash. But I did think that like this is what just bugs me too. Is like Logan and Apex would be pretty fun in
In
a different
yes.
yeah. I'm just like, man, uh, it's brutal.
Yeah,
And it
I
just that
wish they were so bad. Like I wish they were affiliated.
yeah,
At least one of them. Like if one of them were affiliated, oh my goodness.
yeah, yeah,
I'm looking for Rhino here because I know we both want Rhino in here.
yeah.
Okay, so we got Cable, Colossus, Badger, Domino, Deadpool, Wolverine, 23, and Sabre. So you know what? Let's stick with like just mono X Force. If we were to build the best mono X Force team right now, what
Yeah.
do we want? I think I'm with you, and I think Colossus is underrated, and I think he has a time to shine right now. So we're gonna throw Colossus in here.
Yeah.
And who's your next one? OG Wolverine.
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of come around on the Honey Badger X-23 two-pack. I've really been teared. So, just like I've been playing a lot of Cyclops X-Men Blue,
Yeah.
and my first two, that module, those two are just it's a core with those three, and it's just been gross. They're so stupid. It's like,
So
okay, I'm sold.
So I know you talked about I have an article about this like from way back when
Mhm.
of cat and mouse and its like utility with the team. And
Yep.
I used to actually use cat and mouse on 23 more than Cable because with cat and mouse on 23 that puts her on being able to like hit the center line with her claw rush. So you just no matter the cost, claw rush, and you're getting to attack center line with 23, and even potentially getting on their back B point. I've even had it go as crazy as people attack Badger, then I push 23 all the way to my opponent's back gamma around one while she dazed a character. Like she can really like go gas if you're using cat and mouse with her as well.
Yeah. Um, I'd have to throw a character out there then that helps us. This guy is I don't know as Lockjaw. I
Mm-hmm.
love him as he's so stupid for this uh, faction that I would have to I hard
So
sell him.
I've never really been a fan of Lockjaw, and this might be something that I've been missing. And I know Craig will love this, but we'll go ahead and throw Lockjaw in here. Um, so right now we got Cable, Colossus, Badger, 23, and Lockjaw. Are we gonna put OG Wolverine in here, or do we? I think we should. I really do. I love
Yeah,
Fastball Special. I love
yeah,
that. And so we got 6 characters. We got 4 more. I think we definitely want Rhino because we mentioned Rhino a lot. And
yeah.
I would be keen to say I kind of want Pyro over Domino, and I don't know if I'm crazy for that, but what do you think on
I
that?
as long as we're not doing the Weapon X considerations, then yeah, I probably agree. I think I could easily see Pyro over Domino.
Okay, so then we got 2 more slots. Do we want Saber or do we want to look at other splashes?
Okay, so Saber is we're heavy on fours. I like fours. So
Yeah,
it's like, and then the big one is you're playing at 17 a lot because I think like you're just always I don't know. I just feel like you're always playing at 17 with X Force because
you're
that's
not
like all of
wrong.
your crises or whatever. And then so that's like perfect. You did your 3 4s in Cable, and then so but then it's like who's Sabretooth supplanted, Wolverine or Rhino? It's tough.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. Sabretooth's like optional, but he's not. You know,
So let's take a look at like what we got going on here. We got Colossus, Lockjaw, Rhino, Pyro. This is almost leaning towards a more like objective focused X Force. So I'd actually be keen to put Sabretooth in here for that lawn move affiliated.
I actually got a point there.
So let's I think we take him, and then we have one more slot, and it doesn't have to be an affiliated character, just because. Um, However, comma, Deadpool seems really neat here because of the "you can't move me" stuff. But I think we
Yeah.
need, and I wouldn't be opposed. Who's some other picks you've loved for out of affiliation splashes?
Um, I've loved Omega Red, but I'm off him. I don't think I would try to shoehorn him in there anymore. Um,
Yeah, then we
I
already
also
got four
yeah
fours, so I think
four
we're at the
fours. Yeah.
max.
Yeah, I'd have to let me. I'm gonna pull up Cerebro here and just look at the list. Um, and we're thinking about. Do we want a 5? Well, we
I
already got
love
Cables. I don't.
I do like fives.
Yeah, because it's like Cable, X-23, Honey Badger, another 5. Oh yeah, Red Skull. That's who I've been loving in X Force. Red Skull's just bananas, and that year 15 is like dumb.
like
That's
new school. I love new
yeah,
school
New
because
Skull.
of what he
Yeah,
does. So I am all for putting new school in here.
yeah, yeah.
All
He's a
right.
house
Oh, he
in
just
15.
absolutely is, and like his
Yeah,
grunts being able to hold a back point, like they're just super duper good. So we
yeah.
got Cable, Badger, 23, Lockjaw, Rhino, Pyro, New Skull, Sabretooth, OG, Wolverine OG, and Colossus. I think that
And
sounds
then
pretty good.
yeah, and then Lockjaw is like you could goof with him like um he's a flex spot. Like you could swap
Yeah.
him out with somebody else. But I like the idea of him on certain crises. Because
Well,
you've got cat and mouse, body slide, and then potentially 2 ports. And I would probably port himself just so he's like his turn 2 is an absolute
mhm.
cancer. But like, if you're playing like senators or something, and you already have Cable body sliding up with cat and mouse, and then he teleports himself and like Colossus up, or himself in X-23, or himself in somebody like, or just I love the you know like yeah. I mean, Cable loves the lockjaw, the lockjaw for it. He just loves it so much.
You're not wrong. I would
Oh
also
man.
say last minute save is actually kind of a cool card, especially being able to
Oh
keep
yeah.
Wolverine from dying. I
Yep.
don't hate that at all.
Yeah. Also, if you're stacking on Red Skull, so that's the other thing too is you've got Wolverine, Colossus, and Red Skull in your list, and you have none of those guys like being displaced. In fact, it's the worst. And then if you're playing like Sword or something stupid, like because I think Sword's 15, which
Yeah.
you want to be playing, it's so annoying having. But the problem is you can't get Lockjaw in your 15. But the yeah, it's just I don't know. It counters a lot of stuff. I guess Spider infected or whatever. Um,
No, I like it. Um okay, so I'm just trying to pull out some tactics cards here. And I think for us both, cat and
cat.
mouse is yes.
Yeah.
Exceptional healing is of course.
Yep.
No matter the cost is an absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, since Colossus is in here, whenever I play Colossus, I much prefer Indomitable as one of my restricted.
I
Like,
agree.
he almost makes it. You're making this way too easy.
The only one would do. What's our? We don't have both restricteds used, right?
Not yet. No.
Okay, because then the only other one was I like Indomitable patch up with the Colossus play.
Okay.
Um, but that's my. I don't really. I'm not a Brace fan. I don't think this generates power enough for like Follow Me or
So I agree with
Sacrifice.
the like Brace is just a good card, but there's also most of your characters are rolling 4 dice on dodges. There's a
Yeah.
few. But patch up, I don't know. I like the patch up play. I like the Indomitable play more. So I'll agree with you there. We can not take brace. Um, then how are you on Wolverines?
I super love fastball. Or what do you mean? Oh, Wolverine's the card.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I've literally never played it. I've always like
Oh,
looked at it and I was like, ugh.
okay.
It
So
like
I'm
takes
I'm
takes a ton of.
gonna
You like
I'm
that card?
Oh, I love it. I love it
Okay.
on things like Researcher, Gamma, anywhere where you know Wolverine and 23 will be nearby each other, because it's
Yeah.
basically said, I'm playing this card and I'm killing your entire team this turn. Um,
Okay.
and it basically puts a time clock on your opponent to say, I need to like separate these two or KO one of them, so that way you don't get the benefit anymore.
Yeah.
But if you can play it to where Wolverine and 23 are getting both of their actions as attacks, that's like, because of this card, you're paying 6 power to get reroll all or reroll any. On top of 23's already reroll any, she's probably
Yeah.
going to be doing a claw rush as well. So she's looking at rolling 30 something, 20 something dice. Wolverine's probably looking at rolling the same, like 20 something dice. He also gets the throw with the best of what I do. Pierce comes into play. Like, I've had it like Wolverine's turns to where I've deleted just 3 to 4 models. Like, it is
Okay.
insane on the right setup. Absolutely. Okay, so we got Cat and Mouse, exceptional no matter the cost, fastball, Wolverines. I implore you to try it. I definitely give it a shot.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I'll. I always thought it was kind of just like an anti-displacement card, so I didn't.
oh no, use it
I haven't even thought about
aggressively.
it on offense. Okay.
Use it aggressively. Like the anti defense or the anti throw and stuff like that is pretty cool. And also if you, what is it? If you suffer one but you did not daze or KO, they take one. Like, that's actually like been crazy on some games where it's like opponent attacks one of them, does a little bit of damage and doesn't kill them, then they end up killing themselves. It's great.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
and then for restricted, we got Indomitable and Patch Up. So what other cards do you love? Oh, we talked about Last Minute Save. Do you want to?
Yeah. Yeah. Like last minute save.
Okay.
Just yeah, absolutely filthy on the Wolverine.
And then we got 2 spots left, and we're taking Rhino and Pyro. We probably should take both of their cards.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we want, this is a robbery and pyrotechnics. Now, I don't know if like this will actually play out very well, because um doing stuff on paper and then be missing certain things because it sounded good. Because we got a
Yeah.
lot of tactics cards here, but I think it might be shoehorning into a lot of character specifics, which really isn't bad if you're planning on playing specific characters anyways.
Yeah.
So there is that. But all right.
Like if you thought Weapon X program was a better card, then like last minute save could
I
come out. But
I mean, I think having last minute save is essentially like having field dressing. That's kind of
yeah.
big, and it brings on the table of what's my opponent gonna do? Are they gonna let me get Logan back
Yeah.
or whoever? Anyways, so let's talk crises. Let's start with secures. What secures are your favorite to run with X Force?
Okay. I haven't actually played X Force in the new. Well, no, I probably have, but I haven't really put a lot of thought into it. Um, I don't think I hate senators. I don't think
Okay.
I hate. So basically, what I used to play is just like I used to pretend that I was like a Malekith player. I'd play like Demons Downtown, Gamma, um, books. I was just trying to play like D's.
Hmm.
Um, or yeah, or not D's, E's or whatever
Yeah.
E's is up and down and C's is sideways. Um, you know, research station. I liked all those. Keep it simple, slow scoring,
Well, it's also like all
and
those really like help out with uh fastball. Cat and mouse has an advantage on it.
yeah,
Like you could really tone into your advantage. So I let's go ahead. I think I like this idea of senators. Like, I'm for it. And I also
uh,
love researcher with them, just because like you're throwing a lot of stuff down their throat, and it
yep.
gives you another place to run
And if
Wolverines.
paranoia pummels the populace isn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like it, especially with like Lockjaw.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of get your like you can move. This is the other thing too. I like about both this like you've got Honey Badger who's like a great first activation, and you got Colossus who's a great first activation for like if you're worried about their deception plays or shenanigans.
Yeah.
Um, and then once they're in place, like they're never going to waste a deception on honey badger, and then you can basically use her as like a barrier reef for all of your guys to build your offensive ecosystem on her. Um, and then you'll basically not have to worry about deception the rest of the game. Um, but Lockjaw also makes that trivial because you can actually put up two super good characters, right? Cable and Colossus right up there, and they can't do
Yeah.
anything.
I'm for giving Paranoia a shot. I love this scenario, to be honest. It's one of my favorite ones out of the new like reset. So
Yeah,
I like it.
it's it's amazing. It's sort of fast scoring.
Yeah.
It's like that part's scary, but the damage, Cable loves that just random damage people will eat, especially on like 3 threats. So you'll have like a 3 threat run up and get it because that's just what they want to do. But Cable is like, we'll pick that dude off in a hurry. Um, and because he's cat and mouse, I like, the more I play it, the more I like it. And
Yeah.
I've been playing these. Yeah, Montesi. I don't hate Montesi at all.
So I don't like Montesi for the fact that it's Mystic and you got 23 and Wolverine.
That's true. That's true.
That's the only place I don't like it. However, you could just like not play them and play freaking Cable, Colossus, Sabretooth, and Skull. Like I don't hate that. You have options at least. So use Deadpool. I don't know if we have. I think if we were to use Deadpool, I think if you wanted to use Deadpool here, it's gonna be like drop Pyro for Deadpool. 'Cause I think Lockjaw is bringing a lot here that we are using. So I think I like Deadpool for Pyro, but I just like Pyro right now. I'm addicted to Pyro.
Yeah.
So secures. I've always loved Infinity Formula for X-Force. It's always been like one of my favorites because you cat and mouse, you get the extra power at the beginning of the game. Like that's huge. It's so nice. So what do you think about Infinity?
I don't play it a lot, but that's just because again I found like I just have like my comfort. Again, I'm kind of new, so once I'm like comfortable on something, I tend to just start not changing it until
Oh,
I absolutely have to. So yeah, I'm actually all for, if like you're confident on it, I'll
yeah,
definitely
I
give it more
think.
of a go.
Well, it's that 17, so you get like the classic, um, the what two three fours and a Cable 3 4s. So you
Yeah,
could literally run Cable Colossus, Wolverine, Rhino. That sounds pretty fun.
yeah.
Yeah, like I'm kind of excited for that. That sounds really cool. And you said you like Gamma. I do love Gamma too because it's forcing the center. I enjoy forcing the center with X Force.
Hmm.
And what would be another good one? I do like demons, but I think we should do a D, just because if you could be good on Ds, you're kind of up a notch in my opinion. You there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually, so you're talking about D secures. Now me personally, you want to play a D?
um, maybe not. I
Um,
don't hate
D.
them, but they're also not like I feel like they're like the most fair, for lack of a better term, just because like there's very few teams that are truly advantaged on a D.
Mhm.
But
Other than like X-Men and
yeah, like
Prowler.
X-Men and Web Warriors and stuff like that. I don't hate demons just because more incinerates is fun with pyro.
The demons I do actually sort of. Demons is weird. It's like a double-edged.
Yeah,
Like, eventually you'll play. The problem with it is it's great in most, like, it's great in so many of your matchups, but then you'll play the people who want to be playing demons, and then you don't want to play demons anymore. Um, but yeah, I don't know. And then I haven't seen Malekith in a hot minute,
true.
honestly. Um, but man, is that just not super thrilling.
Fair.
Um,
What about I don't even know what would be fun. Maybe meteors? I think cat and mouse
Um,
still puts you on a meteor for your close one.
so we took okay.
Oh, gamma and infinity. What about Madman? I forgot all about Madman because I pulled it out because it's a B shape and the massive 4 defenses across the board.
Sure.
All
I
right,
think
let's
that's probably.
yeah, let's do Madman. All right, so look at that X Force. All right, so I'm gonna read this off and let me know if anything sticks out like a sore thumb. That sounds not so
Wait,
great.
just
Oh, yeah, go
wait,
ahead.
we already that one that's on the diagonal. What's that one? Is that Deadly Meteors?
Yeah, it's meteors.
Yeah, I do actually like that one.
I I
We don't have to play that one.
I actually kind of want to play meteors more than Madmen, just because there's so many more
Okay.
people that are like better at Madmen right now.
Yeah,
So I am for that.
and it's a 17, which is like a hot spot for us. And
Yes. All right. Barncat's so sad. He was hoping for Madmen. All right. So characters. You got Cable, Colossus, Badger, Lockjaw, Pyro, 23, Wolverine, OG, Sabretooth, OG, Rhino, and Red Skull, Master of Hydra. Secures. You got Meteors, Gamma, Infinity, and extracts. We got Senators, Paranoia, and Research. Tactics, you got Cat and Mouse, Fastball Special, Indomitable, Last Minute Save, No Matter the Cost, Patch Up, Pyrotechnics, This is a Robbery, Wolverines, and Exceptional Healing. Is there anything that stands out that you wish you had in here?
uh, I'm I'm always like, as soon as I start playing, that's when that thought hits me. But no, not really. The only one that just because it's like a comfort blanket thing, but I think we're saying we want to play Wolverines is the not having the Weapon X on top of fastball, which
Yeah,
again it's like excessive having all of it, but that's just that's just how I've been rolling.
you're not wrong.
So I'm so used to it. But Wolverines is intriguing, so I'm actually totally for because that's like Wolverine's big. Well, him flubbing is just so annoying. So if you've got him stuck in and X23's there, that's like two characters with dice consistency that are going to be nightmares.
Oh, yeah. The only thing that I miss, and I used to love X Force for this, was Deadpool Zemo, because I rerun like Fortress Zemo, is what I'd call it.
Yeah,
And you just run Cable, Deadpool, and Zemo up a flank, and they just own the flank because Deadpool's now getting 3 rerolls. And you have Cable shielding him, like he just doesn't die. Like
yeah,
it's super fun. But I like this direction. I'm definitely going to be giving this a shot and seeing how it goes. So I'm rather excited to play this. I have not played X Force in a while, so I really kind of want to play X Force right now, to be honest. So
yeah,
this has been a really fun talk. So
yeah.
I have a question for you. We have the spoil of Psylocke's miniature. How excited for Psylocke are you?
I am fairly excited. I mean, I'm like over the moon, super hyped because it's like an affiliation. That's what worries me. It's like, what if she's not X Force for some reason? It's
There's
like
no way.
I
There's
just
no way she's not. You know this.
I I I feel like I know this, but I sort of yeah.
Like,
Um,
let's
I'm still just shook.
look back to all of the like X Force comics. When is there an X Force comic that doesn't have Psylocke in it?
Yeah, no, that's yeah,
Like it
that's
does
true.
happen. It does happen, but it's super rare.
Yeah.
Um, but what if you could have Psylocke be anything to bring to this team? What would you have her be?
Um, I would have her be like a Nick Fury Senior type of character.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know if she's a 4, or 5, a 3, whatever, like the cost, but that being able to play displace people. I don't even know if that's what she does. She seems to just do more of it on herself. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. But that's just in when I play. That's what I want in the faction. Um,
So for me, I think what she needs to be to help the affiliation out is a lawn mover, assassin type character that also plays with like extracts. Like give her good mystic defenses, give her psychic blades, so they're like a mystic blade and or energy, either or both. Maybe she could pick between the two. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Give her 23's rerolls for her consistency, and give her some sort of extra movement shenanigans and maybe martial artists. Like make her a character that can actually run extracts. Because I think that's something
Hmm.
that the affiliation's truly missing is like a true extract runner. I think Sabretooth is that for a lot of places, but there's a lot of times where you just can't take Sabretooth because it's just a bad matchup for him, or
Yeah.
he's like you don't have the points because he's a 4, and you'd rather take something else. So I think that's what I hope for with Psylocke is an assassin extract person.
Yeah. Yeah. I would. I'd be thrilled with that. That's the other thing too about this team is that we're really close, especially with like Rhino. If your
Yeah,
team is like Rhino and X3, and then if you had a character like Zemo, um, it's like all of a sudden you're like, should we be playing sword base?
yeah,
Like that one's just an obnoxious all over the place team. But like she could easily add, she's like another piece of just like that's changed, like giving us like a thing we're leaning into at that point. Um, uh, I'm looking at, so I pull up her Wikipedia page, and she's got telekinesis, telepathy, precognition, martial artist, obviously is windmill, ability to construct weapons. Okay, that's just her energy beam or her psychic energy. Um, yeah, I think she could. I think she could basically be a little bit of a runner, and then she could still have like the Nick Fury Senior TKs. You know, that's what it would just be telekinesis, not
yeah.
whatever. Um, and also at a cost that's not stupid. Like give us the 2 cost version or not the 3, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that would basically put her through the roof. Like it would not take much because like Lockjaw comes out of bliss because you're cat and mousing and then doing your 2-inch place, um, like, and you're doing it in faction, so it's gonna free up other. I
Well,
don't
yeah.
know. Yeah, she's just exciting.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Plus, it's like just a great model. I cannot wait for her. All right, my next question for you is: if you could have any X Force member be added to the game today, who would it be and why?
Oh boy. I mean, I'd have to say like Bishop or Forge. And that'd be cool, like a 2 pack. I can't be pinned down to one. I want all the rest of the X Force. Damn it. Um, yeah, probably Bishop, just from like he's the next big tactical cable guy with guns.
That's fair.
Um,
I have a strong hate for Bishop because of the comic lore.
mhm.
But that's besides the point. I would appreciate just a Bishop just because of the fact that it'd be adding to the roster. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but if I had to pick one for me, it's definitely Phantom X.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, I agree.
more mystic, somebody who's a toolbox character, and I want an Eve tactics card. That is like my wish list for Phantom X is mystic, scenario piece. That's a toolbox and an Eve tactics card.
Hmm.
Love him. All
Yeah.
right. So at this point, let's go ahead and get into some listener questions for the cast and all sorts of stuff. So we got from Craig. Why be so brazen with a mutant centric bid for attention by staging a coup by silencing the voices of your co host? Craig, they're not here and they left me, and Omnis put me up to this, and Nigel was like, "Let's do this." So here we are,
Yeah.
and we are spreading the word of X Force, and we do hope that this episode encourages people to actually put X Force on the table. I really hope so because I would love to see more X Force in places. Because we said we weren't going to talk about it, but Nigel, how many X Force players were at LVO that we saw?
0.
0. We
Yeah.
need there was A Force. We need X Force too. Okay. Let's
Yeah.
let's do this.
um, yeah, I won the best X Force player at uh, Second Wind because I was
Uh-huh.
the only person there. Um, it was just like, what is going on? And they're not. They're good models. I will say this though, and we went through that whole thing, and we played kind of we we played where I left X Force off at before I took this like Cyclops run.
Hmm.
But I think I was arriving at the conclusion you were saying with the Fort Zemo. So it's like, okay, what if we go super small? We put Zemo in there, and I can't remember who my other guy was. Um, and I was just going to make this like, I was even maybe thinking of, is it Baron Strucker also has it? It's
Yeah, the
like
strategic
let's just,
genius.
yeah, let's just go wide and stupid, and uh, because yeah, but I also think that there's just so much room to get good at playing. Here's the tough part about the game too: is it's like, you know, if you played very well, it's just hard to like, it's hard to like process um, a loss as objectively. Like, so you're
Mhm.
like, you want to blame it on like my faction's shortcomings, and then go back to the drawing board. It's like, no, you just have to re-rack. Like, do it again,
Well,
and when
that's
you play
something
tight,
that we have been like trying to like advocate is like look at the reason like where was like the turning point or the decision point. Like there's always like one spot or multiple spots in a game where the game went against you. Like if you can find that point in a game, you're and acknowledge it and not just blame dice or blame XYZ, um like your faction's shortcomings. Um because if you're blaming your faction, then why are you playing that faction? Yeah, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Um, like oh, I lost because I played X Force. Well, like if you enjoy playing X Force, that's fine. But it's like there's a different reason out there. Like oh, I lost because Cable missed his role on a Mutant Madman, and makes me think that maybe I shouldn't be playing Mutant Madman. So like dissect your loss as to what led to it and what actually happened.
hmm, yep. And there's so many like watching the LVO games too. There's like players who force. It's like I have to do this with X Force all the time, and then when I do it well, I tend to win the games, and when I do it poorly, I lose them. Which is like, you may not always have prio. Like things. So this would be like a play pattern that I walked into. It was like things would go good for me, but that would spiral into things going bad for me because they prio switches, and you don't. So now I'm just way better at like, okay, we're like gonna lose prio, so I'm going to give them an A B poison pill. Like, do you have to like force? But that's just a thing. Like, you could blame X Force. You could blame. They get to go first with a fully loaded backside Malekith and then own your whole team. But you you just were like, you were going for the. It felt good flipping him, but you positioned yourself to not win the game after that. Like, so you just have to like, and you can't blame like, that Malekith could have been anybody. Um, so it's not like the tier, what some guy on YouTube said, like, of course they got beat because it's an S tier model versus a D tier leader or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know, and that so yeah, you just have like, I actually one of the podcasts I listened to of you guys was you were having like the malaise, and is it Sam the host, uh, or the it's not Hyper Viper, but the
yeah, Sam.
Sam, yeah, he basically was like, it's your job to be like the point of the spear. If you're tired of the Malekith meta, if you're tired of the Sam Vengers, if you're tired of then it's like on you to
Play something else.
fucking deal. Yeah, it's on you to be the point of the spear. And I was like, yeah, fucking hey, dudes. Like that was when I was like, okay, well these guys will always be like a podcast for me because it's like they get it. Because you guys talk about meta stuff and you're into that. You want to win and you want to play something that's good and you objectively understand like value and no, not value, but like, you're not trying to distill, you're not trying to like solve the game at all times, which is and if you're not distilling the game to like down to just the only 10 models you can field, that doesn't mean you're memeing. It's not like an all or nothing or binary. um there's so much room for like gameplay and skill in this
Absolutely,
in,
yeah.
in MCP.
There really
So
is, and like something I used to say was like when I was really like championing X Force was like, if you play a million games of your list, like you're gonna know your list way more than your opponent, and you're gonna see things that your opponent doesn't see. It's all about reps, and I still think that. I do think that like reps is huge. But it also comes down to I think MCP is like such a high variance game that it almost doesn't really matter. Like you could play whatever you wanted to because you really wanted to, and as long as you understand the core concepts and understand what your game plan is and what your route to victory is, and always reevaluate that as you're playing, you have a chance to win. It doesn't matter if you're playing a meme list or the most S tier list. Like an S tier list could lose to a meme list because of variance, and how you make variance work for you is by evaluating the game and realizing what your win condition is, and by pushing your agenda towards that.
Yeah. Think about weaknesses that X Force doesn't have that some of the other factions do have. Like, we're not saddled with a strategy. Like, if someone plays against us, they have no idea what the hell we're gonna do.
Exactly.
We're
It's just
we're,
like the
we're gonna play.
comics.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna be playing the game as it comes to us, and we're gonna be able to adapt with like
you
characters
know,
and attacks from all
I think
places.
I think that is X Force's game plan. It's not that they're lacking a game plan. It's just that their game plan is to be adaptable.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
one
that.
hundred percent. But then like if you play, so and I bring this because you play Midnight Suns Shield or Midnight Suns Shield or Spider Foes.
Hmm.
That's a huge limitation of those factions. Once you've played them a little bit, you know exactly how they're going to want to use their tactics cards. You know exactly how to play around those tactic cards. Their whole game is warped around manipulating crises and their tactics cards. Like what makes X-Men and Brotherhood good is that they have all those gadget plays and stuff, and
Yeah.
they also adapt. Like so we don't maybe have the strongest opening plays, but
Well, it's also like it could be very much throw off your opponent. Like that game where you cat and mouse Colossus instead of Cable, it's immediately going to make your opponent say, "Okay, what's about to happen? I don't
yeah,
understand. Like you didn't cat and mouse Cable. I am confused." And it's funny because like when I first started doing that with 23, they're like, "Oh, you didn't cat and mouse Cable. I'm so used to people cat and mouse and Cable. I didn't expect this side of the board just to be dead." Um,
yeah,
so it's like it's very interesting to see, and I think that's actually a really good point about X Force in general. Is like they're so adaptable, and they're not like a one trick pony. They always like can keep your opponent on their toes throughout the entire game. I really like that.
yeah. That's the only like when I think about my experience in games, it's like they literally have no idea. Whereas if I play even like I'll play other stuff like Sentinels or Winter Guard or Inhumans. They definitely have a bit like sometimes they'll know because I'm like less experienced. They'll know what I'm doing more than I do, because they the book the faction has a book that they play, so it's like
Yeah,
you just naturally walking in. But like yeah, you playing X Force versus me playing X Force versus anybody playing X Force is going to be wildly different. I've actually never seen a codified like X Force. I mean, I've seen people playing X Force where it was just like Domino and Deadpool and like the weenies. And that's not a strategy I've been doing. And but I just think if you do that, you should be playing X Men.
true.
But um,
I
yeah, I don't
definitely
know.
think like if anybody takes anything away from this episode, I think that's probably the biggest point. Is X Force is very much an affiliation where you just do what you want and have fun with the characters you want to have fun with, and it may or may not work, and you're probably going to go through some losses until you figure out like what you're trying to do with them. But I think they're definitely a team that can teach you, because Omnis used to ask this on like podcasts. I'm sure he still does. But like he'd ask people like, what is like something that like this affiliation teaches you? And I think playing X Force teaches you one, target prioritization. That's huge. And when like not to kill someone, like when to like leave them on like 2 health or 1 health, so you can like take them out early next round. But I think X Force is really good at teaching you target prioritization and how to keep your mind open to different strategies. I really think that.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100% of the target prio.
Barncat says it teaches humility. It does that too. It does teach you a lot of humility of putting a quote unquote handicap on yourself for playing X Force. But I do think I agree with you. I think X Force are in a really good spot right now, comparatively speaking, to where they've been in the past because of the
Yeah.
crisis changes. And I really hope Psylocke really helps them out a little bit too, because I would love to
Oh
play
yeah.
more X Force and feel like really good about it. um,
Like this could be an awesome year for X Force with you Psylocke. Obviously, like when you see Agent Venom and Spider Woman, and then the Beta Ray Bill, and you've already seen Weapon X,
Yeah.
the Weapon X box. You're like, okay, so Psylocke is probably coming in pretty hot, right? They're like,
Oh
or
yeah.
even Blob and Pyro, I think, are just like absolute bonkers.
Every character
So
coming out recently has been super good. So
yeah,
Psylocke's got to be super good, which is going to be
it
great. Which
yeah.
maybe we'll get a Phantom X. I would love Phantom X for this team so bad, or Forge. I think
Oh yeah,
Forge or Phantom X are up there for me. Like I want Forge to
yeah.
be like some sort of changed attack type or add damage dice or something. Um, God, I want Forge too. All right, let's
Yeah.
let's get on to the next listener question from Hebinator. Speculation based on past members for Hellfire Club to be affiliated. For me personally, I don't know that much about Hellfire Club, to be honest. Never really read them, so I don't know who else could be that's already been in the game. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I just that's already released is Magneto. Um, I can't remember. There's like four. I think there's like four people that it would be, but Magneto's definitely one of them. Um, and then yeah, they'd have to come out with new. They'd have to
Yeah,
come out with new. I mean, it's one of those weird ones too. It's like everybody's been in the Hellfire Club, um, so it's like it's one of those. It's Emma Frost, Magneto, Storm's in it. Phoenix. So Phoenix, she's not out yet, but I thought that she's like semi spoiled. Um, and then if you do say Phoenix, would that no, that wouldn't they wouldn't have Jean Grey be in there.
probably not. All right. Next one from Hebinator as well is how's Cable been working since the new crisis? Are you straight on the foes train, or does your main squeeze still see play? For me personally, when I play Weapon X, I play Cable, and then this roster has me excited to play some more Cable, so I'll probably be playing Cable for a while now. I'm back on the X Force train, so we are going to be, and I think as we discussed earlier, Cable in the new crises feels really, really good. Him being cat and mouse makes him almost immediately a threat on every VP for the crises in the game. I think there's very few that it doesn't affect. Would you
Yep,
agree?
I totally agree. Yeah, I've been
Awesome.
playing him in Weapon X and enjoying. Just yeah, it's a blast.
Absolutely. All right, from Bloondy. What is the worst faction in the game, and why is it X-Men? Is it because no matter how many releases they get, they still can't win LVO? um, this is totally subjective. I don't think there's truly like a worse faction in the game. It's really whatever people want to champion and what they want to play. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean the faction too with like the average. I don't know what the but it's like 6 in faction characters, 4 splashes or something. Sometimes it's even like less than that, 5 and 5. So a lot of times, like X-Men has a good enough core that it doesn't
Yeah,
really matter. And then her Storm's leadership ability is busted, and she's busted, and there's like it's just piloting, and people being aware of it, and that's I mean X Force is the example of like piloting matters. You can't just play whatever
absolutely.
you want and get away with it.
Absolutely. All right, from Jimmy. Oh, first off, Barncat in the chat says Inhumans has no champions. I challenge you, Barncat, to be the Inhuman champion. All right, Jimmy to hand. Why do you think there is a subsection of this community that hates on X-Men so hard? I don't see groups hating on Hydra or A-Force or the like. What is it about X-Men that bring out the intolerance and hatred of some of the community? Because real life has to play out like the comics. That's I really don't know. That's like the best answer I got for you is like people just want to have something to poke fun at and be like, well, X-Men aren't going to make it. They're bad, or X-Men are complicated to play, or X-Men are just not good. I disagree with that completely. I think X-Men are like top of the ladder. You heard Vince on Professional Casual Network. They were interviewing him, and he rated top of the meta right now as like Brotherhood, X-Men, Shield, and Avengers. With Shield being the bottom of that ladder, and I agree with that. I do think mutants get a lot of hate for no reason, or like X-Men or Brotherhood. I just think it comes down to people can't let go of stick. Can't think of the word right now. God, starts with an S.
Uh, Stigmas or
Yeah, stigmas. Like, I think there's a big stigma on any of the mutants. Like, oh, if mutants get the mutant tax of +1 power cost, um, or just anything like that. I just think that X-Men and X-Force and basically all the mutant affiliations have like stigmas about them that they just can't shake, and it's really, in my opinion, upon the community and people to call out others in the community to be like why, like, is there a real reason why you're doing this, or are you just trying to troll?
the other thing too that I sort of I get it, but I don't really think there's like usually they're like memeing a bit when they complain about X Men or whatever. But like um, when the game came out as the core box plus MODOK and Hulk, and then X Men didn't see a release. There was no mutants until I don't even know where the first one even was. But it was like
It was like a
I actually quit
year.
M. Yeah, it was like a year. So I actually quit. Like you have one of the most popular subsets of comics period, and they didn't address mutants for over a year. And
Yeah,
again, I left the game. I was like, it just like lost my interest. So and then I came back because there's mutants. So like in the before times, I'm sure all things were great, but there's so many. The reason I just think AMG maybe had a misstep by going like Wakanda first. Like Wakanda could be a little fresher if they had flopped it a little bit. Like if they spread out their, if it wasn't all mutants all the time now, and you had like Wakanda coming in a little later,
yeah,
they
no,
couldn't be as stale feeling, and X Men wouldn't be as oppressive.
that's completely fair. All right, another one from Matt Herb. As AMG adds more characters to the pool, do you think the disparity in character power levels will get out of hand? I think they've done a good job, like keeping like a true power creep from happening. I do think there is like starting to be like power creep where some four threats are just outweighing, but it's also like each character does something different, and the fact that you can always use whatever character you want, like you still see characters that came out in the core set that are still very commonly used because of how good they are, or that's the specific tool that I need. I think that's the cool thing about like a superhero game like this is you're able to give certain characters a very toolboxy feel, or like this character is really good for X situation, but this character is really good for Y situation. So like being able to have that really helps them with their design space, in my opinion. So I don't know if character power levels will get out of hand, but I do think AMG, if that ever does happen, will go back and do a rebalance and fix things. I don't think they're gonna let it like stay out of hand or be too crazy. What are your thoughts?
Um, so like if the Malekith thing was an indicator of like if you have something that's like a sore spot, they'll obviously address it. And um, the mini stravaganza last year where everybody got a freshening up in both directions. Sure, it came down. I don't know. They've just been pretty good about like sprucing up the game. So
Yep.
and also you know like Cyclops and Cable, maybe have some things coming for them this summer. That's going to change the whole meta quite a bit.
You never know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know. Currently, so you look at what's coming out right now, and you have Beta Ray Bill, Spider Woman, and Agent Venom. None of those are ones that just automatically. Again, I would make an argument that I could play Cyclops instead of them. Um,
Yeah.
as a whatever, like the curve is just not there yet. I don't know, but they are honing in. So it's like power creep's weird. It's like your attack profile is going to be like five on a builder, seven on a spender, whatever, and it's always going to be within like a one-ish of that, with some sort of so like offensive, like attrition wise, they all kind of fall into this like bell curve that's like in the middle, and then you're going to have ones that are just like extremely efficient. That's where it gets scary is if they're extremely efficient on controlling scenario in some way. Um, and the biggest problems we've seen were like Black Cat and Voodoo. They've already rang that bell, so
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. If you ring that bell some more, it probably just balances the game more than it does.
Absolutely. All right. Barncat asks a question. What is the best Pokemon and why is it Alakazam?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Pichu.
Fair. I've always loved Charizard. I'm a Charizard kid. And then Ronwick asked, "What would Blastoise's threat level be in MCP?" I could see Blastoise being a 5.
Yeah, easy.
Easy.
Pichu is the best because of Super Smash Brothers.
Fair.
And if you just needed to assert your dominance, you'd play Pichu, and then that's just basically like you had to embarrass somebody.
Fair. All right. Do you have anything else that you would like to say before we close out?
Yeah, just to congrats to Vince, and then congrats to, I believe his name is Andrew, in the finals. That was a bonkers game. I don't know. We didn't geek out too much about it. That was insane. Um, like I just thought the whole time, like Vince is in the driver's seat. This is over, and then just uh, just how mad like it just kept playing and playing. It was tight. It was so fun. I was like shocked that I was able to like compose myself. I was running around the shop here. So,
Absolutely.
anyways, yeah, hats off to those guys. That was awesome. LVO was super sweet to watch. I was like that like really recharged my battery seeing a big event well covered. A lot of ideas. It gave me confirmation of like I'm not that far off in my thinking. Like I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not like in some sort of weird think tank deviation from like the norm. Like, oh, okay, these I'm watching players make the same mistakes I make, or the same mistakes I capitalize, the same models I use, different. Like it affirmed me that like, yeah, the I don't know, MCPs, the people who are like the content creators, the people who are good at it, or the tournament finishers, they aren't always accessing some sort of mystical, magical Super Saiyan level that you don't have access to, or
Very true.
so that was really cool.
Awesome. All right. And with that, we have been the Snickety Snacks, and you have been the listener.